Hello, I'm Dan from EDEMO Electric Bikes, and this is my review of the Riese Müller Swing 3. So the bike that we're looking at today, the specification that we've got is a Swing 3 Urban Vario. The Swing 3 is available in 4 different frame sizes, a 43 centimetre frame with a smaller 26-inch wheel, or the 46 centimetre with a 28-inch wheel, which is this, and the 2 larger sizes again. There's a few different setups of the gears you can go for. You can go for a Nexus hub, you can go for a Vario hub, or you can go for a Nexus hub with a belt drive as well. So there's a few options there. Colour-wise, you can get a Salvia matte, a black, or a white, and all come with these great matching brown tyres, grips, and saddle. Final options that you can get on this bike include twin baskets to go on the back, which are a sort of a wicker basket, and there's a matching one that you can get onto the front as well. Battery size on this bike is a 500 watt-hour battery, which is good for around about 50 miles. So starting at the front of the bike, let's have a look at a few of the different things that we'll find on this one. We're fitted with the Schwalbe Big Bend tyre. Now, what I really like about this bike is it comes with the brown version of this tyre, and it just looks really nice. The design of this tyre is probably biased towards roads, but you will be more than happy to ride on sort of gravel, canal paths or anything like that at all. And even if you've got sort of open common land like we have near us, during the summer and the dry months, you'll happily ride this bike across the grass as well. 3 of the frames come with a 28-inch wheel, so that's this size wheel. And then there's one frame in the range, which is a 43 centimetre frame, which has a slightly smaller 26-inch wheel. So it just makes the bike a little bit more compact for those riders who just need to be able to get their feet down to the floor. So it's quite a nice bike in that it covers a huge range of sizes of different riders. The bike comes fitted as standard with front and rear mudguards on it, and then you'll see on this bike we've got what look like traditional brakes, brake blocks onto the rim, but these are actually hydraulic brakes onto the rim. So these are more than capable of stopping you in any sort of weather conditions that you're going to find out there. And again, these are manufactured by Magura, same as all the other bikes across the range. So next you'll see the light that's fitted to this bike. This is a Supernova Light. This is included in the price of the bike, and also there's a light in the rear of this bike as well, so that won't cost you anything extra. And these are really good quality lights, so they're not your cheap LED light that you're going to find on low-end bikes. These are proper sort of light the road and light the way type things. We quite often use them going across the common in the pitch black, and they are absolutely superb. And you'll see on the forks on the front here that we've got sprung forks. So we've got a suspension fork on the front, which just makes the ride an awful lot more comfortable. Moving up the bike a little bit further, one of the things that make this bike look so clean and all the lines like so perfect is the fact that all of this cabling that's required actually disappears into the frame. So it's quite a lot of thought that's gone into the design of this, and you'll notice that all the cables are dropping into the top of the head tube here and then disappearing in through the frame. So on lower cost bikes you'll see that these cables typically hang out around the front or clip on down the bottom here and move down through the bike. So it just keeps these nice clean lines that we can see. And then moving up onto the handlebars, you'll see the shape of these bars are swept back towards the rider. So we've got the handlebars up nice and high, we've got a comfortable upright seating position, and then we've got these lovely leather hand grips that are stitched as well, so they just look really good. This bike is set up with the MVolo hub. So that's a rear hub that is continuously variable. So we'll find just here that we've got a grip shift that turns to change gear. There's also another version of this which is called the City or the Urban, and those are both provided with a Nexus 8-speed hub, which has essentially the same shifter that you turn this little grip shifter here, but instead it has 8 steps of gear, so you hear it click between the 8 gears. Looking at the brake levers, standard UK spec, so front on the right hand side, rear on the left. Hydraulic brakes, as I mentioned earlier, so huge stopping power for this bike as standard. All important, lovely bell. And then we move into the center of this bike. Now this bike has a couple of options here for the display. The standard display is the Intuvia display that comes from Bosch, which just picks off the handlebars for extra security and clips back on. It provides all the information that you need from your speed, the assistance level that you're in, the mileage that you've done, the range that you've got left, all that type of information. And it also has the switch for the lights as well. You can upgrade this bike to have the smartphone hub on it as well, and that will allow you to have a little holder here that you can put your mobile phone into. It will sync with the bike, and then you can use that as the interface to the whole of your bike as well. But most popular is probably the Intuvia display on this bike. Moving over to the left-hand side are the control buttons for the bike. There's 3 buttons on this controller. One to move up the assistance level, and you can go anywhere from off to Eco, Tour, Sport and Turbo, and back down again obviously with the minus button. And then there's an information button which is the same as the one on the Intuvia display that will just let you scroll through all the different bits of information that are available. Moving down to the bottom of the bike, down here we've got our motor. So this motor is the Bosch 60 Newton meter motor. So it's not quite the top of the range motor, but it's still got quite a lot of power. It's a 250 watt motor, 60 Newton meters. It's more than enough for this bike and what it's intended to do. So we're probably not intending to take this bike and seriously off-road on, you know, sort of the mountain bike trails and stuff. Although I'm sure we could probably give it a good go. It's a Gen 3 motor, so it's a motor that's come out very recently, and it produces around about 60 Newton meters of torque and 250 watts. Numbers aside, this will eat all the hills around here alive, and we sit on the edge of the Cotswolds, which is straight up. So it's really a combination of 2 things that do that. One, the motor, and secondly, the gears that you combine it with. So this is always going to be combined with either as a Nexus, an 8-speed hub or an Enviolo hub. Looking at the transmission of the power from the front to the rear, on this bike, this bike is called an Urban Vario. So this is the Enviolo hub on the back, and it means it has a belt drive. So it's a Gates carbon belt drive, which for a bike of this price is probably pretty uncommon to see a feature as good as that on it. There are some lower specification versions. There is a Swing 3 City, which is provided with an 8-speed Nexus hub in the rear, and you can have it with a chain. That does bring the cost down by a couple of £100, but we don't really tend to sell those because people absolutely love the idea of a couple of £100, get a belt drive on there, and then do away with the oily chain and the maintenance to go with it. So when we're looking at the power being transferred from the motor to the rear wheel, there's 4 different options that we can go for. The lowest cost option would be using a chain in place of this belt, and then using here something called a Nexus 8-speed hub. So basically like an 8-speed Sturmey Archer that we used to have. This is, you know, an internal 8-speed. Next step up from that is to then go for the same 8-speed hub, but then have a belt drive on it, similar to this. After that, next step up is to go for exactly this specification that we're looking at. So this is an Enviolo hub, which means it's continuously variable. So it can be anywhere from the lowest gear up to the highest gear with no individual steps on the way through. And then the last option, which is by far the most incredible, is to have a belt drive with an Enviolo hub, but have it automatic. So we set the speed at which we want to pedal, and then it would automatically change the gear for us so we keep our legs spinning at the same speed the whole time. If you're somebody who doesn't particularly enjoy playing with the gears and everything to go with it, it's a really simple, no maintenance, no gear type of thing that's worthwhile doing. Moving up towards the saddle, we'll see on this one that we've actually got a suspension seat post as well, so it just makes the ride a little bit softer, and essentially when you put weight on it, it has a little bit of give. So as you hit all those potholes, it's just going to stop the jarring through your back so much. And that combined with this lovely big saddle is going to be comfortable riding all day long. This bike has what is called a cafe lock fitted as standard. So a cafe lock essentially means that what's going to happen is there's a bolt that slips through the rear wheel between the spokes and will stop the wheel being turned. It will stop anybody riding your bike off, but it won't stop them picking up and running with it. But if they're running with a bike, you're probably going to catch them pretty quick. Your battery on this bike is contained up in the rear rack behind this basket. So on this bike, you've got a 500 watt-hour battery sitting here. So 500 watt-hours is probably going to be good for about 50 miles of cycling. And you'll see there's a charge point on the side here, so you can plug your bike straight in to get it charged up, or with the key, you can then just pull the battery straight out the back and then charge it in the house. On this bike, obviously the rack is included as well because it's part of the battery casing. The baskets that we've got here are an optional extra. They come as a pair. They just literally clip onto the outside, like that. And there's one to go on the other side. And you can also get a front basket that clips onto the front as well to match these. And then the last option that you can get for this bike is a chain extension. And it's basically a loop of chain that you plug into the side of your cafe lock, and it will allow you to loop onto a lamp post and just secure your bike to something else. So it's quite a simple design. If the type of riding you're looking to be doing is leisure riding, comfort, and all about, you know, this really lovely sort of style of the Dutch bike, this bike is going to be more than capable of doing that for you. It comes with a relatively large 500 watt-hour battery. It's got hydraulic brakes, it's got incredible gears, and you can even go for an automatic. So if you're looking to get into cycling and doing more during the summer, but you don't want the maintenance and you don't want the complication of a bike, then you know this could be just the perfect bike for you. Do you know, the thing is, I really do love it. How can you not love that bike?